What's going on, people? Welcome back to Full Therapy with me, host Jan. I hope you are all doing well today, my friends. I really do hope that Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. Chelsea remain unbeaten, whatever that counts for, under Thomas Tuchel. Man United remain unbeaten away from home this season. Another clean sheet for Chelsea. Only one opposition player still yet to score against Chelsea Football Club under Thomas Tuchel. Resolute defensively. And this wasn't so much of a bore draw like it was in the reverse fixture, which was a 0-0. There was exciting moments in this game. I'm going to go through it and talk you through it. There's a lot of stuff to get into around the fact how there were no goals in terms of lineups, player performances, incidents in the game. So get comfortable, subscribe if you're new, drop a like if you want to show your sweet, sweet love as we get into today's match review. Right, so as things stand or stood prior to the game, Chelsea were 6 points off Man United, and they still are. They've gained a point on Leicester and of course West Ham, which is ultimately good, but you really wanted to take this opportunity to draw in Manchester United. And a lot of people sort of had Chelsea as favourites. Manchester United have been poor in the Premier League lately. Chelsea haven't been scintillating, but they've been really functional and generally good. So it was an opportunity, but I think losing would have been really bad. So I kind of feel like okay with it, and a little bit disappointed, but what I'm taking with me is, alright, we're not easy to beat, which is important, and Thomas Tuchel is still learning about this Chelsea side. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows everything about that Man United side backwards, inside out. Tuchel is still learning about this side and the players, and will need to develop them. So I kind of see this as another important lesson. Good, great. I really think probably Chelsea were just about worth the win. But many people just before kickoff were saying, it's the kind of game where they're going to cancel each other out. And ultimately we did in many ways, but perhaps not in the way people thought that we would. Anyway, let's take a look at this who scored match graphic to give you the context of the stats and the lineup. Solskjaer went with his 4-2-3-1. Miraculously, Scott McTominay was fit, and he played in the midfield with Fred, who are obviously very good together, and the talisman Bruno Fernandes playing in the number 10. Chelsea went with a 3-4-2-1 this time. Surprise inclusions from Ben Chilwell starting over Marcus Alonso, which made sense in terms of recovery pace. Kante coming in for Jorginho, which makes sense in terms of marshalling Fernandes and doing ball recoveries from transitions, and Hakim Ziyech, which I guess was just to play the certain balls into runners, favoured over Timo Werner. So, in both halves of this match, Chelsea start the opening sort of 10 minutes of each half scintillatingly. Loads of possession, Man United on the ropes, but then they come back into the game, and generally, the narrative of this game was Chelsea looking good on the ball, progressing in play, and Man United being deadly on the counter, with a couple of spells themselves when they penned Chelsea back. Ultimately, I think Chelsea had the better of it in terms of playing with the ball and passing combinations. Chelsea had a couple of good opportunities in this game, most notably Olivier Giroud, I believe, in the first half. A header, which he nearly gets his head on, and to be honest, that probably would have been the game. A controversial talking point was the non-VAR penalty, which is peculiar from Manchester United, not seeing the benefit from VAR. Originally, it looks like a Mason Greenwood handball, but the stills show the ball touching Hudson-Odoi with his hands sort of out like this. You absolutely see them given. The Sky Sports studio were pretty split down the middle, so I can understand how it's not stonewall considering how the ball was moving in the box. But for me, the main talking point of this was it came from a free kick that was never a free kick to Manchester United. Scott McTominay fouls Mason Mount and somehow is granted a free kick. So for me, the whole penalty situation is moot point anyway. Move on! Callum Hudson-Odoi comes off at half-time, and we are all crapping ourselves thinking, oh no, it's happened again, but turns out he was injured, and Reece James comes on and plays very well indeed, in my opinion. We also see sub-appearances from Christian Pulisic and Timo Werner for Giroud and Ziyech. Chelsea push for the win at the end of a lot of half chances, and in the dying seconds and stoppage time, Manchester United have the better of it. Bruno Fernandes kept quiet. Man United generally toothless apart from, counter-attacks. Chelsea probably should have done better, but ultimately we moved. So let's move on and talk about player performances in this game. Edouard Mendy in goal, I actually think he was very good. He made a couple of decent saves and he looked confident. For me, when I'm on Mendy watch, I sort of look at him and saying, is he feeling confident? Because that exudes to the defence and onwards. And I think he did today, so I'm very pleased with his performance. Hudson-Odoi was good in the first half, but didn't get too much chance to express himself. Reece James came on for the second half and actually looked very good indeed. I was very pleased with him, putting in a lot of crosses. Sadly, no players there to meet his beautiful, perfect crosses. Not his fault though, he did well. Ben Chilwell wasn't great in the first half, he also got booked, but he got a lot better when he started making the darting runs down in the second half. In fact, there was a couple of big chances he was involved with, and generally, I mean, maybe we would have done better with Alonso in hindsight, but I'm pleased to see Chilwell because in terms of his player profile and qualities, I think he will do well in this Chelsea team. Certainly, he's the first choice conventional left back, but I think he can do bits as a left wing back too. The back three were very good. Rudiger is impressing me more and more with his forward runs, and obviously he's good at the sort of a little bit of gamesmanship as well. Yeah, can't really complain. Christensen, the fact how he's not giving me heart attacks, I'm very pleased with that. So the back three all get a thumbs up from Yanni today. Kovacic, I actually think Kovacic was magnificent. He was superb on the ball, turning in possession, doing these little 1-2s. So confident. He exudes confidence and sauce, like in terms of just simple little drag backs and turns and stuff out of possession. Yeah, very, very good. Obviously, he took a shot, it was a bit tame, but in terms of his functionality in the midfield, you can't really ask for much more from him in terms of his role. So I was very pleased. Kante is definitely going to be a talking point because he does what he does very well. And, maybe he ultimately did have a good game in terms of interceptions, and I don't think he was man-marking Fernandes, but I think the creativity from the Man United midfield was sort of void in many ways. So I think he's done well, but there was a lot of frustration on social media for Kante in terms of his poor passing in the first half, especially. Perhaps Jorginho would play better incisive passes, but do we lose the game because of the Man United counter-attack if Jorginho plays? I'll leave it up to you guys down in the comment section below. Mason Mount was pretty darn good, really good, possibly my man of the match. I'll be interested to hear what you guys think. Superb work ethic, good, at holding the ball up high at the pitch, not necessarily with strength, but with intelligence, playing between the lines. Wasn't his best game, but I'm trying to think who was playing better than him in this game. Giroud, in hindsight, I probably wouldn't have started him. Well, maybe, because he nearly met that header and that would have been the game, and that's all he needs to do. I think he was alright, Giroud. I'm not going to criticise him because I think that would be pretty harsh and unfair. Hakim Ziyech was easily our worst player in the first half. He did get a little bit better. He did a lovely 1-2 with, I believe, Reece James. He's got a really interesting chemistry with Reece James, which I really like. And yeah, looked a lot better in the second half, but ultimately he came off, I believe, for Timo Werner or Pulisic. I think Werner. Regardless, Pulisic and Werner came on, both just to run in behind with their pace. Didn't really get the chance to do that. Pulisic's probably the more lively out of the two, but he's higher in confidence as a player, I feel, and that's how things went down in terms of player performances. So let's wind it down and talk about this game a little bit more. Ultimately, not a great result for Chelsea, but not the worst in the world. I mean, the fact how we look resolute is important, especially for this run-in. There's a limited amount of games left, and that's good, right? Chelsea probably a high chance of finishing in the top four. West Ham, they lost to City, but they lost 2-1 to City. Man City look like they're never going to lose again. They're just going to win every game. So West Ham are absolutely a threat for this top four. Man United are going to hang on for as long as they can. 6 points clear still. It's good Leicester lost. It's very sad to see they lost Harvey Barnes, but there's these kind of things in the season that can benefit other teams. And who knows, they might drop out of the top four and Chelsea might take their place or something. So it's very, very difficult. Liverpool will still back themselves to get into the top four themselves, and Everton as well, of course. It's going to be a mad race. Whew. I don't feel awful after that game. I'm just gauging how I feel because I can get really like all football fans, emotional after a loss or a draw. But I feel okay because what I saw was sort of enough, and I think Tuchel will learn and develop as he sees more matches, data, if you will, from Chelsea Football Club and the boys. So what do you guys think? I'm really keen to hear it. Get down in the comment section below and express your thoughts, feelings and emotions on this match. If you've enjoyed the content and my analysis of the game, drop a like. It means a lot. Subscribe if you're new to the Football Therapy experience. Follow me on Instagram for exclusive nudes. Enjoy the football and I'll see you later.
so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me baby